Welcome back. Now, as divorce rates continue to rise, questions are being raised about the spiritual foundation of marriage and the role faith plays in sustaining relationships. We're now speaking to Minister of the Gospel, John Kamati, to gain insight into the spiritual factors contributing to divorce and how faith-based guidance can help strengthen marriages. Mr. Kamati, a very good evening to you, and thank you so much for making time to talk to us.
Thank you so much, Ndapewa, and also Happy New Year to you. It's a pleasure for me to be here. First time on
the Daily Roundup.
The Daily Roundup, yes.
Well, we are pleased to have you here. Mr.
Yeah.
Kamati, the High Court recently recorded 111 divorce cases, which basically shocked many Namibians. But from a spiritual perspective, how would you interpret this?
Wow, that's a very, very good question. Also shocking maybe because we see those figures now in black and white.
Yes.
But I think maybe I'm here wearing a hat, of course wearing a hat practically, but the hat that I'm wearing is because I'm also a certified and marriage relationship counselor. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
I am actually also, maybe just to add on that, so shocked by the amount of young marriages that want out. I'm talking about 2 years and even less.
Yeah.
You know, young couples that get married that want out. So I think the figure of people wanting out of marriages is much higher than what we see in the court rolls, because many are living together yet are divorced, or living together but really in practical terms divorced.
Yeah.
What are the spiritual implications? If we can then go to the fact of what is marriage, that marriage, in fact, one of the defining factors from a spiritual perspective is that marriage is a covenant. And a covenant is a spiritual covenant. You know, you can have two types of covenant, an ordinary covenant, a contract that can be revoked and so on. But really a spiritual covenant engages more than one person.
Yeah.
As we stand, I'm not specifically speaking of Christian covenants. You know, we stand there and we say we are gathered here in the presence of God, you know, and all these witnesses, you know, to put together these two people in holy matrimony. It speaks of the spiritual values and meaning of the marriage perhaps being not known, or people not understanding what marriage really is. And I see that a lot now with what I now call them Instagram marriages.
Okay. Do you think people are fascinated by the idea of a wedding and are not ready for marriage?
Oh yes, very much so. We live in a society where I would say young people like the late Ravi Zachariah said that we're a generation that thinks with their eyes.
True.
And we see a lot of that, and that's why I actually used the term before, saying Instagram marriages. I do a program that is titled Invest in Your Marriage rather than the wedding day, or instead of the wedding day. Yes, there is a lot of fascination with the wedding because we see the glamour thereof. And you even now, if you just have Instagram, you'll see the patterns. All of them look the same.
Yeah.
White tuxedo, white wedding, big tent. And I think that the visual aspect, I would actually not downplay that. Maybe speaking also very simplistically, because I'm referring to a certain sector of our community, which I see very much in that space. I conduct also ceremonies, not weddings, ceremonies where people want to be blessed and so on, because I'm not commissioned yet, but you know, we can do a ceremony of many other people from other cultural backgrounds. Very simple. People will come together, nothing lavish, but you see the emphasis is being put more on the union rather than thus the celebration, the ceremony. Yeah. I see a lot of that, yeah. Okay. I agree with you that I think that's one of the biggest problems we have in our community.
Yeah. Some would say materialism, unrealistic expectations, lack of preparation for marriage. Do you agree with this assessment? And also, just from your perspective, you know, as a minister of the gospel and also as a marriage counselor, what do you think are some of the most common issues that you see perhaps marriages, you know, ending up in divorces?
Oh, I think just as I said before, it's really people not understanding what is marriage.
Okay.
Number two is a lack of preparation, as you rightfully say, to understand how to understand the purpose, the process of marriage. Now, when I talk about the process, is the way we interact, both as a couple and also as we interact with the broader parties that are involved, family and so on. And I would say then thirdly, the things like the just lack of knowledge of the key aspects of marriage, or the key components that makes marriage successful. I said, let me rather go back. I said purpose, the process. Now we can talk about the process, but then the other thing is personalities. You have two different people coming into a union, two different backgrounds, two different foundations. And what will make that work is when you are therefore prepared to understand the purpose, and then you are also empowered how to interact in that process, which is now things like communication. You look at things like how to deal with the realities of being together, finances, intimacy itself, whether not just physical or sexual intimacy, but the intimacy of relationship, things like boundaries, dealing with conflicts, conflict management, conflict resolution. Now, those things are very important when you do premarital preparation, that you are then exposed, if that's now touching on your last part of the question, exposed to the key components that makes marriage, or rather that build for a successful marriage.
Yeah. So you'd recommend for everyone to go for premarital counseling?
Very much so. And also for the churches to do that. I know that, for example, the Catholic Church has got a very strong ethos in terms of premarital counseling. It's a demand. They have a requirement. There are churches also that does marriage schools. I know that Oceana Lutheran Church has even the Anglican Church in Katutura, I remember I was there the one Sunday, and they announced that there are classes for those that are getting married from October to December. They must attend classes. But I think a comprehensive premarital education, preparation, counseling is very important.
Yeah. Some people will argue that faith alone is not enough to hold a marriage together. How would you respond to that, especially in today's fast-paced, changing world?
Faith is very central to our spirituality, because I think that is where we started. And marriage is a spiritual engagement, ultimately. I mean, imagine a union that brings forth life. Ultimately, it's important. Yes, I would say yes and no, because some people might not necessarily be Christian or confessing that they belong to a certain faith, but they apply the principles. They apply the principles of communication, of conflict resolution. They are very clear on the purpose of their union. Yeah. So that, but of course, when we therefore say faith, and I'm saying faith in terms of understanding what is the significance of marriage within the context of faith. I would say that within the Christian faith, it actually should be very, very important, because even Christ himself identifies himself with the church as the groom and the church being the bride. And there's a whole lot of dynamics there. For example, and taking cognizance that not everybody's a Christian that's listening, but there's a scripture which says that husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Now that requires that you know something about Christ, that you have faith in him. And also it's a wife, submit to your husband as unto Christ. So within the faith context, we can make that work if we understand the principles thereof.
All right.
Yeah.
So what practical guidance can churches and faith leaders just give to couples who are already struggling within their marriage?
One of the responsibilities of the church is really to guide the shepherd or the sheep, to guide, to teach, to direct. Of course, to have, I would say practically, I would advise that churches really emphasize and put an effort in providing marriage education, marriage preparation. You know, we have churches that does confirmation, for example. You know, some of the mainline churches have that.
Yeah.
And the kids go through a whole year of classes. I have made a proposition to my pastor that we start that at our church. I don't have the permission to speak on behalf of that, but that is something that we're starting to do, a school of marriage, taking people through classes that prepares you to understand the purpose of marriage, how to do marriage, looking at things whether you are compatible, and compatibility has got so many sectors, not just personality, intellectually, cultural compatibility, social compatibility, and many times people find themselves in troubles because they have not really prepared themselves. So churches should put this high on their agenda. Yeah.
Mr. Kamati, for those who are divorced or perhaps going through a divorce right now, what message of hope, healing, and restoration would you like to share with them?
There is always hope. I think people take divorce almost as an escape, either because they have not confronted the real issues that they are. And if you have two people coming together, obviously there will always be differences, and so on. Get help. You know, there are counselors that specializes in marriage. I'm one of them. There are quite a few. Speak to your pastor. Get to speak to the elders, so people that have been there before you. Sometimes it's even necessary to have things like therapy, or see a social worker or a counselor or a psychologist when it now needs help in that space. However, I would love to say that don't be too quick to give up, because help is just as near as how you reach out. It's just important to retract, see where have we missed it, and also understand that love is a spiritual gift. Love, God is love, and with God there is hope. We can really find a way to resolve, to restitute. We can find a way to forgive, and also to commit again to our covenant that we have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for the young people and the couples who are considering marriage, what is some of your words of advice to them this evening? Marriage
is God ordained. Somebody once said that we are not meant to be solo. And that really spoke to me. I've been married now. This will be my 35th year of marriage. And I can't imagine a life without having been married to my wife. So there are so many good benefits. The Bible said that it's not good for man to be alone. I'll give him a helpmate. So there's value in the union of friendship, of companionship, of intimacy, to get to really appreciate and know one another, and to be able to also bring forth life in a union of marriage. I would then say, please, and please times 100 times, invest in your marriage and not just in the wedding. That which you value, you invest in. Get premarital counseling, get books. Nowadays, there's a lot of even online, not just courses, online classes, and people that are available that provide this kind of help. I would very, very, very much highlight and emphasize the importance of preparation. Don't be in a hurry to get into it. And don't get married because your friends are getting married.
Yeah.
And please, don't just get married for an Instagram picture.
Well said, Mr. Kamati, well said. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Kamati.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, it's John Kamati, who is a minister of the gospel there, talking to us. We'll be back shortly with more conversations. Do stay with us.